Microdose, yeah, Microdose. Hosted by Kush Hayes and Robyn Seto. Talking the talk, cause they got things for you to know. Let's go party with Miss Robyn in the games on Cameo. Yeah, Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. What gets this next? Go and take a guess. No matter who it is, every episode's the best. Every episode's the best. Every episode's the best. If you disagree, you're crazy, simple as chess. Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
What's good, y'all? Kush Hayes here, coming to you. And yeah, don't you heard correctly in that music. It's the old music. Miss Robyn Seto. Miss Robyn, if you're nasty, what's good? Yo.
Hey, hey, hey.
Robyn.
Hello.
Hello. Miss Robyn, you haven't been here in a minute. We're happy to have you back. We want to celebrate you. We want to celebrate the microdose. We also want to let you know, like, you are a big deal here. You are responsible for the fact that we possibly had 200 microdoses. We only had like a small handful, less than 2 dozen, which for some people is a big deal. But there was a pandemic. You and I met. We got off really well together, and then I was just like, you should be my co-host if you don't mind. And you were like, yeah, I guess I could do that. And then we got a couple episodes, and I was like, yeah, we got a good rapport here. We got good chemistry. I think we could do more of these. And then you were like, well, what if we started bringing guests on? I was like, what? Like, so technically, you were one of the first guests on the microdose. You were absolutely the co-host of the microdose, but you were responsible for us having more episodes. Just, I don't know, I just dropping that on you like a sandbag. What do you have to reply to that?
I think it's just a little spark can create a large forest fire, and
Hell yeah.
sometimes you just need a little spark. And I'm happy that you've had so many guests come through. I knew you rubbed elbows with a lot of interesting folks, and yeah, I just felt like it seemed natural to suggest that, like, hey, Kush, you got weird people in your life. You got interesting people. You live in a weird city. You gotta know someone interesting we can bring on the show.
Yeah. But it was more than that. Like, so yes, I do. I already know a bunch of interesting folks, but like you and I also rubbed elbows with, like, you and I talked to the executive producer of like Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Like,
that was pretty cool.
That was pretty wild, right?
Yeah.
Like we did cool shit like that. So I always have a huge spot in my heart for you, Robyn Seto. I'm happy that you can celebrate our second to last episode, our penultimate episode. You remember people started throwing that word around? No one knew that word before Breaking Bad, but now everyone uses it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. Going back to the Kush and Kai days, which kind of caught my eye and kind of brought me into the picture, and was kind of like, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to take a compliment. I'm a very humble person. Yeah, humble brag there. But it doesn't feel right for me to take all that credit. You really put in the legwork there.
Well, you helped, and everybody needs help. All right? And you helped, and I sincerely appreciate you. I've always appreciated you. I don't know if you've known that. You are humble, but I want you to know that, and I want everyone else to know that, like, you were a big deal for us getting to 200 episodes. So let's get into shenanigans.
Oh boy.
I had a thing the other day. So I got home from a movie, and then immediately got into a fight with my mom, who was, not doing so well these days. She's fine. She can walk, she can drive. She shouldn't drive. However, she's still healthy-ish and whatever, but she's had
Yeah,
2 heart attacks, and
the
you've been there for one
yeah,
of those at least.
yeah.
Um,
Mama Hayes is no spring chicken. We'll put it that
no,
way.
no, she's not, and we're happy that she's still around. That it's a chore, like getting her to listen to us, like, hey, it's not some birthday. Anyway. I get home from a movie. And I'm like, yeah, Bad Boys 4 was pretty entertaining. You haven't seen any of them, but it was, I had a good time. And then the phone rings, and Mama Hayes does this thing where she'll look at the phone, she'll read the caller ID. Caller ID is still a new thing for her. And she's like, LODI. And I was like, someone from Lodi is calling you. It's this is like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I caught an early screening. So it's not late in the day. It's early in the evening, but again, like the phone is ringing, the phone is ringing, the phone is ringing. And I'm just like, would you please just answer the phone or just hang up on it? Like you can hit the off button and it'll just eventually go to the voicemail or whatever. Like, but like you looking at the phone is doing nothing, and if you're not processing it, just fucking hang up on it. Anyways, I go, would you please answer the phone or just hang up on the cunt? And then she looks over at me and she's like, I don't appreciate you using that word, Kush. And I'm like, what? I don't like you using that word. It is offensive to me and my gender. And I'm like, what? You don't
What?
even know that the person on the other end is a woman. Also, could you hang up on that cunt? Like, are you mad at me because I'm using the word cunt here? And she's like, I don't. Why are you still using that word? Like, cunt? Why? What is? By the way, the phone is still ringing. Okay, we get into the whole thing. Like, this goes back and forth like 2 to 3 more times, and then she fucking drops on me like, "What if I called one of your friends a bitch?" And I was like, and I'm not sure if she couldn't just say the word cunt, or if she just was like, again, that's what she said. Like, what if I call one of your friends a bitch? And I was like, well, why are you calling my friends a bitch? Like, you don't even know who's on the other. Like, I'm definitely not calling your friend a cunt or a bitch. So, but could you please answer the phone or hang up on it? The phone is still ringing. We get into this whole thing. Long story short, she finally picks up the phone and they hang up on her.
Oh my
However,
God.
later the night, I'm thinking about the entire conversation and I'm like, well, what if she did start calling my friends a bitch? Like, Jason, that midget bitch. Like,
Ah?
Keith, that fucking dense bitch. Like, I was like, this is
Hmm,
hilarious.
that
Yeah,
would
what
be
if she did
funny.
start calling my friends a bitch?
You can giggle to yourself about it.
It's the funniest argument I've ever had in hindsight. Everything else has been dramatic and Shakespearean, and I'm like, I'm surprised she hasn't stabbed me yet.
Oh
However,
Lordy.
like, I was just like, yeah, what if she did start calling my friends a bitch? Like, damn, that dizzy bitch. Like, I don't know. So you're the first one that's laughed at that. I told this to a car full of gentlemen the other day on our way to Sausalito. By the way, I've never been to Sausalito, despite being on the opposite side of the Golden Gate Bridge before
Eh.
last weekend. And they were just like, so you're still using the word cunt? Like, I was just like, hey, man, maybe you didn't understand the conversation here. Like, my mom is literally calling you guys a bitch now. Like, at least in this timeline. Like, come on.
What's wrong with people? They get hung up over the use of the word cunt.
Well, in both contexts, in the conversation of my mom, Mama Hayes, and the conversation of this car, I also like, the British use this word, and they all went like,
They do use it a lot, and
it's
the
also a different
Australian.
context to them.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
You
uh,
fuckhead cunt.
I explained to a British guy once upon a time about what cunt means out here in the United States of America, and he immediately blushed and he went like, "Oh yeah, I can see why you don't like that word." But me being me, I dragged it on. So I was like, "Yeah, so it's moldy and smells like cheese, and he's like, okay, man, I understand. You had me at cunt. Stop.
I get the picture, dude.
Yeah. You can stop there, Kush. It's okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I have been attacked for your use of that word as a woman
Hmm.
and by other men
Fascinating.
saying I shouldn't use that word. I'm like, but I am the owner of, the basic form of one,
Sure, sure, sure,
not,
sure.
not a crusty one, you know. But I feel like I should have free reign to say it, that's my word. That's our word. Women women should have free reign to use that word because it's been used against them for so long. And I have no problem with it personally.
Sure.
Uh but I'm a little bit different, I guess.
You are a little bit different, Robyn Seto, but that's why you're awesome. Um, yeah. Again, that also came up in the car ride. It's just like, hey, man, like one, cunt isn't very gender specific nowadays. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you want
Anyone
to
is a
own it,
cunt.
you can own it, Robyn. I'm not going to take that away from. I am not going to pull your papers on that. However, I used to hate that word, and then I was like, I'm surrounded by a lot of cunts these days. God damn it! Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's like
quite
I don't
wild.
know. It's a stand-in for asshole or, dildo.
Yeah, I think it's the extreme of both of those. But yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it's like it's like the next level up of intense emotion.
it was
It's up
pretty
there.
wild.
It's like right before you start getting the slurs is cunt.
Okay, okay, because a cunt is just under a slur. I
I
like
feel
that.
like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, everyone is treating it like a slur. I
And I don't think it is unless you're specifically using it in that weird way. But I don't think anyone who says it does. I think it's mostly just used to be like, "Ah, you bloody cunt."
there you go. Yeah. So I watched the Harley Quinn cartoon on when it was called HBO Max. Now it's just Max, but it's weird that and Twitter. It's weird that we have to keep like going. And that thing was also called. Um, anyways, one of the character. It's a very violent cartoon. It has no problems using all sorts of swear words, but they literally like when they said the word cunt, they actually like shot to the globe, stopping. And I was like, that's very funny. But also, that's weird that this would happen in this cartoon. But it was also making a point. Anyways,
I yes. I mean, me specifically, I don't throw it around that frequently.
I throw it around quite frequently, apparently.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, maybe that's something I need to work out with my therapist these
I
days.
don't know. I guess I throw it around enough to make my mom vaguely upset,
Mm-hmm.
which surprises me because she's got like the worst mouth ever. She's a sweet lady, but she swears like a sailor.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Mama Hayes, however, has bad hearing. So like
Uh-huh.
I've thrown this word around before and she'll smile like, yeah, I think you have a point there.
Just completely misses it. Uh,
Anyway.
yeah, I think I'm getting there with my parents too. They're entering their mid 70s in the next few years here. So my dad already has hearing aids. I think my mom might be able to benefit from some, although she does have very selective hearing.
So Mama Hayes has hearing aids, needs hearing aids, has had three generations worth of hearing aids where they're a little bit more comfortable. They're supposed to be a little bit louder. Oh, this new one can actually like connect to your iPhone and like you can talk to your friends on the phone. Um, she doesn't know how to use any of that shit.
Uh,
And based only on the movie Sound of Metal, I feel like her hearing is just like it's not she doesn't appreciate it. She doesn't like it, like she used to hear like us, and now because of these things, she's hearing completely differently. Like she's not hearing like us anymore.
Yeah, it
She
is.
might as well not hear anything, in her opinion. Um, but
I have heard it is kind of strange. It does amplify sounds in kind of an odd way that
mhm.
maybe your head isn't used to. Like it doesn't judge distance quite the same as like a human ear would. So
And I can't judge on that. Like again, based only on a movie, I was like, oh my god, that would be awful. Is my mom going through that? Jesus Christ. Like, so based on that, I'm like, all right, I get it, but like we can figure out other ways to communicate. Um, where was I going with that? Fucking hell.
mom's deaf.
Mom
Mom
is
doesn't
deaf.
like that you use the C word.
Mom, she ignored. Yeah, so yeah, it's hard to tell when she because I've cussed at her several times, but then she's
Right.
heard me cuss at her, and she's like, "Why the fuck are you using that word at me now?" Like, I'm sorry, I thought we were two adults here. You know?
Yeah. It's like this is not the first time that I have said this around you.
Yeah. So, let's move off the subject of moms because I just got off your mom. Bam. What? All right. That was incredibly rude. Excuse me, Mama Seto. Um, you are the executive producer of a show called Generation Y question mark. I think we have to say the whole thing like that.
Right.
However, yeah, how long have you been doing that now? I think it's been about 2 years, hasn't it?
Yeah, probably since really started. Yeah, Otto Pataki, one of our weirdo friends from the Red Letter Media group on Facebook that is now falling apart for various reasons we won't get
Oof,
into.
like America. It's
Um,
just like America.
yeah, he's a weird guy. I don't always see eye to eye with what he has to say about things,
Okay.
but he does like to bounce ideas off of me creatively, and that's kind of been fun for me, honestly, because it's pretty
Nice.
low risk. Not to say that got a whole lot of out there ideas or whatever, but I think that it's just fun to support people creatively when they're doing something like that. I don't have the drive to do these kind of projects by myself. So
Same.
I enjoy putting in time with other people who want my feedback or value my feedback, I guess. In addition to just kind of having ideas bounced off of me, I do thumbnail artwork and just sort of visual gag stuff for him too for his videos. And that's been fun because that's kind of low pressure stuff. It doesn't have to be picture perfect because I know people aren't going to be looking at it for a long time. I'm also doing this on the house. So,
Mm.
and
See.
I'm weird. I do a lot of things I probably should charge people for free.
I agree, actually. Yes.
But the thing about collecting money for me, it's like, okay, now I really have to put everything into this, and it gets almost the better of me in some ways. And I've had projects brought to me where I agreed to work on them for a commission, and I feel like that more frequently, I just haven't been able to follow through with those because it's like the pressure gets to me. I'm weird like that. I
I
got all
agree with
sorts
that
of
too.
I
Mhm.
got all sorts of weird brain problems. That's something else. But
Mhm.
I'm not asking for handouts here. I enjoy putting time in when it's asked of me. It doesn't take up a ton of time. So yeah, it's fun. I We're the same age. Otto and I.
Mhm.
He grew up in Toronto. I grew up in
Is he
California.
Canadian?
So
Okay.
yeah, he's kind of a weird city kid. He's told me a lot of really interesting stories about living and growing up in Toronto with his
Okay.
friends and all the weird kids at his high school and growing up and his crazy life. And he has a lot of really interesting stories to tell. I find that he's a really good storyteller.
Hmm.
So
See.
it's been really interesting to kind of expand on our friendship and like quote unquote professional relationship in that way.
I believe Otto Pataki, you recommended him that he's one of the guests we should have. Um, it was such a long time ago, but I remember I want to say him and I interacted a few times, and then I just went like, yeah, nah. And if it's the same dude, he also went like, I demand you let me on the show and say that Tony Todd is the greatest voice, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, you just said it on Facebook, so we don't
Yeah,
need to
that
do that
sounds
anymore.
like Otto. Um, he's just a yeah, he's Canadian.
Mhm.
That's all I can say.
Okay, fair enough. I will
I can't.
say this,
Uh,
despite the fact that he's never been on the show, um, we would not have done him any favors. His YouTube page is very successful, or at least more successful than the Bosnets YouTube page. So again, yeah, he didn't need our help. I don't know what we could have brought to him or what he would have brought to us. So in that case, it was probably nothing was missed. However, like I watched a few of the episodes today because you got to prep for these interviews, Robyn Seto, and the early stuff is kind of whack, but all the early stuff is whack.
yeah,
Our early stuff is is dumb,
yeah.
etc., etc., etc. But what is your favorite episode of Generation Y that you've contributed to?
I mean, I think this is probably the most recent one I did. It was probably the episode he did, The Simpsons and Me, on Flaming Moe's, because I got to do the thumbnail art for that one,
Oh, okay,
where I got to draw Homer basically spazzing out on scissor.
nice, nice.
And I don't know. I don't always see totally. I can usually at least see where he's coming from on a lot of stuff. I
Mhm.
feel like we usually agree on a lot of the things on The Simpsons, though. So I think that's probably his most recent and therefore probably most polished episode on The Simpsons out at this point in time. So I like that one.
People give the last 20 years of The Simpsons a lot of grief, but for some reason they've all seen the last 20 years of The Simpsons. Like I've missed the last 15 just because I'm like, seen enough on syndication. I can't imagine what else they would do, and I'd rather spend 30 minutes doing something else. And then on demand became a thing, but I also didn't invest time in it. However, so yesterday I was in a medical procedure. This will be my second medical procedure that you will know about since we've met. Uh,
Oh,
Same gimmick. Everything's
fun.
okay. Everything's
Good.
okay. However, they were like, "Oh, while you're waiting for a nurse to roll you off, here's a TV." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I found The Simpsons on FXX. It was surprising because it was like 10 in the morning. And I was like, "Oh, good." I genuinely don't know what season it was, but like Homer faced off against a Muslim family and then learned how to not be racist or whatever. I don't know, but I thought the shit was funny. Like, Mr. Burns through a poker game, inherited a basketball team, and then shot Thrilla Gorilla with a rifle because he didn't know it was not a real gorilla. And I was like, that's fucking funny. Like, why do people not think this shit is funny? What do you think about Simpsons post season 13? And again, there's
Uh,
like 35 now.
yeah, I mean, I know that there's hidden gems in them. I don't outright discount everything past, what people consider the golden era of The Simpsons. Um, I don't know. It's really hit or miss. I watched pretty regularly up until like 2016, I think, when I kind of just stopped watching a lot of TV altogether after that year. And I caught like the Halloween special last year, and it was not good. The
Oh,
the voice acting was very upsetting, and I've
Mhm.
heard it's only gotten worse. So,
Is it
uh,
because the actors are now 40 years older?
yeah, I think that may have something to do with it.
Okay.
Almost
Okay.
everybody sounds very strange, and I'm not at all passing any sort of judgment on recasts because I know a few characters have been recast, but like Julie Kavner sounds like she's got her feet both feet in the grave up to her ankles, you know.
Right, right.
She doesn't sound so good doing Marge. And I somebody sent me a clip of Harry Shearer doing Smithers and Burns scene from a recent episode, and it sounds kind of tragic. It just they don't quite sound like themselves anymore. And I mean, Harry Shearer is 80 years old, so
Wow, is he that old?
people
Like,
are.
I should not be surprised by that, but
I mean, the
still,
show's been on
uh,
for like,
35 years.
yeah, it's older than me.
You're right.
So
Ay, ay, ay.
these people are not gonna live forever.
All right.
But I feel like at this point, that's my biggest issue with it because I haven't really been watching. It's like the voice actors are getting old and the animation has gotten cheaper, but it's been that way for a while.
Mhm.
I feel like it's not fair to complain about it anymore.
For some reason, the Lady Gaga episode is very controversial, and it's been deemed as like in the top 10, if not the top three of worst Simpsons episodes. But again, it's one of those things where I didn't catch it live. I caught it on an FXX stream or marathon or a block, whatever. I was in I was in an Airbnb in San Jose at a Comic Con in a rock band.
All right.
If any of that makes sense to you.
I think I do recall some sort of history with Rock
Yeah.
Band and Kush, yes.
Yeah, that was almost 10 years ago. Not quite 10 years ago, but almost 10 years ago. Anyways, it's one of the funniest episodes I've ever seen. However, people keep going like, yeah, this is the worst episode ever. And like when I explain it to people, like they fall on the lawn laughing. So Lady Gaga is coming to Springfield to do a concert, and she's on a train, and that train is very Tex Avery. So the train is like doing this bobbing left and
Yes,
bobbing right,
I
and
do recall the bobbing train.
yeah, but it's not just that. Like all the dishes and the utensils are doing the bobbing left and the bobbing right. Like whatever music is in the background, that's what's happening. But like the high heels have high heels on, and it's a whole thing. It was funny. I forget what instigates the whole thing, but Lisa Simpson hurts Lady Gaga's feelings, and she starts crying, and she's like, "Bitch, are you crying glitter?" And she's like, "Tiny diamonds," and it hurts like hell every time. And this is the funniest fucking thing I've seen in my life, honestly. At least top 10. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Mm,
I don't know.
okay.
Okay. Oh, Robyn Seto disagrees politely.
Okay. All right. Well, Kush likes Lisa goes gaga.
I don't know. Maybe I like Lady Gaga crying. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that
Whatever.
is kind of
Shut
funny.
up.
No, I mean, if you can get something out of it, more power to you.
I don't know. Again, I thought Mr. Burns shooting a gorilla mascot last night was hilarious. And then
Yeah,
everyone left the arena. And they were like, oh my God, Mr. Burns shot a gorilla.
yeah. Um, there's a YouTuber called The Real Jibs who covers a
Hmm.
lot of more
I like and subscribe.
yeah, recent Simpsons stuff as well as, older stuff too, but I feel like he's been my sort of window into what the Simpsons of like the last decade has looked like. And it's not terrible. I mean, they can't all be winners.
No, they cannot.
And and there's been turnover of writers. I don't know how many times now. Showrunners
Thousands,
come and
a
go.
thousand by now.
Yeah, it has to be so many. So, we can't all be Conan O'Brien. I'm
Nope.
sorry.
Sorry, y'all. You can't all be Conan. That is a fact.
And I guess kudos to the network for, renewing it, knowing that there's dorks out there like us or the real gyms who will watch it.
The real gyms we reached out to,
Oh yeah?
and he politely replied no.
Okay.
He was just like, yeah, like I like I'm going on college here. And I was like, all right, but like we're not. If you can't do it next week, can you do it in like 7 weeks? 9 weeks? And he was like, no.
Oh, that would have been really interesting because I do enjoy his channel a lot, even though again
Same,
I don't
same.
always agree with what he has to say with stuff, but I find his views and opinions very interesting and I like the content he covers. So I'm a little bit sad, but I get it.
I get it too. And to be fair to him, like again, he goes very extensive into his episodes. He's one of those guys I'm very jealous of. Much like Otto Pataki, by the way, where it's just like we don't need to do an episode every week. The episode is done when it's done and not beforehand. And then we will release it. And Otto probably has got a better schedule than Jim, the real Jim, whatever his name is. But he's still just like, yeah, he puts out what he wants to, and sometimes I felt like I was forced to do an episode, and that sucks too.
Yeah.
Meh.
Yeah, the thing with Otto, at least I know, is he does have a day job, and
Oh, fuck you! I have a day job too.
um, but like he also like lives by himself. It's just him and his cat. So
I'm also jealous he has a cat. I was adopted by 3 cats.
yeah, I've heard about your neighbor's cats, and I've seen a couple pictures, and they look beautiful.
They're pretty awesome, and they have all different personalities. They're a lot of fun, so I enjoy them, and I try to feed them, or at least give them little treats as I can. But yeah, we can't always do that, and sometimes we're just like, yeah, no, you already had your treat today, Calypso. You can't have any more. But they all protect the house, and I think we're better for it.
Are they keeping the raccoons away?
No, no, no.
No.
But the raccoons are still nocturnal animals. You'll see them in the day sometimes, but raccoons are nocturnal animals, and yeah, I don't know how these folks keep their cats coming back to them, but they do, and yeah, no, the cats are not fighting the raccoons. Thankfully,
Well,
they
that's
would
good.
lose that battle.
Yeah, raccoons are no nonsense.
Pretty savage, right?
Yeah, they'll fuck you up. They don't care. They got nothing to lose, baby.
Robyn, anything else coming up with Generation Y that you want to talk about? Anything you're excited about?
Let's see. He's got some things in the works. We're working on a couple of funny little projects that are kind of a little bit different from the normal kind of content that he's been putting out. I won't give too much away because I've been pretty lazy on doing my part about it. So I gotta pick up the slack on that one. But um that one's pretty interesting. So just yeah, keep an eye out, follow that weirdo. And he's always got what do they say? Irons in the fire.
Mhm.
Um, he's just a guy who needs a good creative outlet. I think he's found a lot of different fun ways to bring entertainment to people.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think anything specifically coming up, but it's been pretty exciting to work with him. It's kind of fun to have my art seen without it being like me showcasing it, I guess.
Right, right.
Um, So yeah, I don't know. Just check that out. Look out for fun things on the
It's,
horizon.
it's Generation Y with a question mark. Is there a
WHY.
WHY? Is there something else specific that can help folks find it? When I went to YouTube on my beautiful 4K TV here and looked up Generation Y, found a bunch of other bullshit, and then I finally was able to, through a link through your Facebook page, I was able to find it and then redirect myself. But is there something specific that would help folks find it? Generation Y question mark Simpsons or
Yeah, I think probably typing the whole thing out, Generation WHY Entertainment.
entertainment?
Maybe,
There we go. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
entertainment at the end there is usually will kind of help you direct it to it. Look for Simpsons. He has this really cool but very long Alien Resurrection review out that you could check out. That might pop up under his because it's one of his longer videos.
Okay.
It's like a little TV and it's got a question mark in it and it's colorful and fun.
There you go. Robert, I think we've done enough here. So
Cool.
I just want to say, yep, I super appreciate you being a part of the Microdose. I love you. Thank you so much for just helping me do this much. Honestly, we there wouldn't be 200 episodes without you. So
Thank you, man. I love you too. Thank you for taking a chance with me and trusting in me and just kind of keeping the feelers out for me whenever you have that itch or whatever.
yeah,
Um it's been really fun. I feel like it's been a really interesting learning experience for me. I've met a lot of people I wouldn't have otherwise talked to ever. And yeah, I hope that there's more fun in the future for us.
I think there will be. I feel like
Yeah,
there will be,
yeah.
but you know, time and place and etiquette and all that stuff. So, uh, so for Robyn Seto, find her on Generation Y Entertainment on YouTube. I've been Kush Hayes. You've been you.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
The Bosnet family.
All right, say it one time, like super straight, like James Earl Jones.
The Bosnet family.
All right, now say one sassy.
The Bosnet family. Sometimes you just need a little spark.